Okay, accordion-style book part 2. A few more things to consider. Through a minor miracle, I found that I did have some mat board laying around in my house. It's not in the best condition. I'm about 80% sure it's acid-free. Ideally, I would be sure it's acid-free, but I'm gonna use it for this. I've already cut this down to size. This is something that will fit nicely within my cover paper. I can wrap my cover around it. I had originally planned, I've already glued my lengths of paper together. I'd originally planned to just insert this in here, glue this all together, and call this a day. But I realized as I was looking at this, I really don't want to see this board in my spine, right? If I fold this around sort of the leading edge or the opening edge of my book, I'm going to be able to see this board edge, and that's really ugly. So I'm not going to do that. Unfortunately, I already put a pretty solid crease in my paper. That's never coming out. So I'm going to have to live with it. But what I can do is I can line up my pretty paper around my board, and I can glue this into place. And actually, I'm going to do a little bit less than that. Let's get this over so you can see. I've got like I got this on a measuring mat. I've got like a ½ inch. What I can do is I can fold this over. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just glue this all together so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to take this side. I'm using a glue stick because I find that like Elmer's glue, although it would work fine, tends to wrinkle my paper. I'm going to glue this on the inside like so. Make sure I've got good contact. And then I'm going to take this end and wrap this over like, kind of like I'm wrapping a gift. All right, so then I've already measured this down to a really close size, but the cool thing I can do is wrap this then around the edge. I'll have this edge wrapped and this edge wrapped, and so my book will look a lot more decorative and finished. But before I glue this side down, you see I've trimmed one of my accordion folds into, oh, what is that? It's about 1 inch length. 1.5 inch-ish. I can take this, I'm gonna line up my crease here, and I'll be able to glue this all together all at once. So I'll have a nice wrapped spine on this side, nice wrapped cover on this side, and my book will be securely bound in place. So I'll go ahead and show you exactly what I mean by this. Let's see, make sure I do this carefully but thoroughly. I don't want to get glue where it doesn't belong. There are other ways of wrapping exterior covers. There's a specific way that you can cut cloth or fancy paper. I'm not going to demonstrate that in this video, but know that if you really hate seeing the exterior edge of whatever cardboard or paper you're using, there are ways to avoid that. So I've got that glued down. My glue stick is kind of drying out, so I'm going to put down more than is probably necessary. Put my pretty paper into place. Make sure it's still squared up. sure everything's got good contact. Extra glue off the page before I glue everything together. And then I will have what I'll do is set this somewhere with a textbook or something on it overnight so it's weighted and everything glues evenly. But then you'll see that I ended up with a nice cover. It's hard covered, but everything is attached. I'll do the same exact process on the other side. And then I'll also have a good support for standing the book up all by itself. Now, a word of caution. I don't want to take this, my fold here, and wrap this around mat board because it'll put too much stress on this crease and it'll make your book wear out rather quickly. So that's one of the reasons I don't recommend. Let me show you on this other one so you can see a little better. What I mean by that is, for instance, binding it like this, where you have fancy paper, your interior paper, board, then fancy paper. Although it does look like a reasonably good solution, you'll see that this crease ends up being way bigger than these other creases, and it just doesn't look that nice overall. Plus, it's not really good for this paper. The fibrils will wear out really easily. So don't do that. That's a bad example. So that is that's at least half of the example for this. If I'd had a little bit wider paper, or if my composition had been a little bit shallower, I would have left an overhang on this paper so I could have wrapped these edges as well. But I didn't have that, unfortunately, so I can still see the board, but that's okay. I can see at least this edge looks nice. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to enjoy my book.